let's do this together.
Here we go.
And finally, here are the films selected as Best Picture nominees. Black Panther, Kevin Feige, producer.
Black Panther, the next installment in the Marvel Cinematic Universe that doesn't have Robert Downey Jr. plastered on the official poster. Multiple times. Directed by Ryan Coogler, who's known for directing the critically acclaimed Fruitvale Station and another film called Creed or something. This film made waves across the superhero industry and most importantly, the larger film industry as being the first predominantly black film in the history of media. That's the correct stat, right? First predominantly black superhero film in the history of media. The film marks the second appearance of the Black Panther, his first being Captain America: Civil Skirmish. And this film had quite a bit of hype behind it. What with the trailers depicting a super modern city of dreams with Run the Jewels playing in the background, and oh my god, it's the Human Torch from that really shit Fantastic Four film.
The film premiered in Los Angeles on my 18th birthday and was released in cinemas on the 16th of February that year, and to say it did bits is an understatement. As of writing this video, Black Panther is the 9th highest grossing film of all time, the highest grossing film of 2018 in the US and Canada, beating Infinity War, which was released in the same year, and various box office records were set and broken by this film. In total, the film made $1.35 billion worldwide. That's more than any other solo Marvel film, which is an achievement in and of itself. The film had a massive cultural impact, and now with award season fast approaching, it's getting nominated for a lot of awards, including Best Picture at the Academy Awards, becoming the first superhero film to even earn the nomination. With all the stats that I've thrown at you, you're probably questioning why I titled the video the way I did, seeing as everything I said is muffled from Disney's cock in my mouth. But while I'm a massive Marvel fanboy, the inherent praise this film seems to get, with many people lauding the film as one of the best superhero films of all time, is a little overboard. Before you arm your pitchforks and tiki torches, I'm going to say that I very much enjoyed the film. It is in no way, shape or form an awful film, but there are a lot of things that critics seem to overlook when reviewing this film, so I'm going to highlight them in the hopes that a few of you who are watching who still think Black Panther is a cinematic masterpiece can step back and take another look into the film. This doesn't mean to say that I'll be forcing you to hate the film. I'm not going to chain you to your bed and force you to read my Bible of contrarianism. Yes, I also know that I'm almost a year late to the whole "we hate Black Panther" hype, but with the recent nominations this film's been getting, I think it's time to do what many others should have done and explain why Black Panther is not what it's cracked up to be. I'm also going to preface this by saying that this is not a feature-length 16.5 episode 3-hour analysis and review on every single frame in the film. There are loads of those on YouTube, but my mission is to make mine the most enjoyable and the most entry-level type review, so that you can parrot the points that I make on the off chance you get into a Twitter argument. Again, I'm going to slap a big fat spoiler warning for the rest of the video. The film did come out a year ago, but I'm not taking any chances based on some select comments on previous videos. So yeah, spoilers ahead for the movie. I've explained the context behind the film briefly, but as is tradition with all of my videos, it's time to get a little bit of context as to the creation of the film to pad the runtime and to see why people seem to like it so much. Black Panther was a film that I'd say was partially a victim of circumstance. The film came out at a perfect time and took advantage of that fact to rake in serious dough at the box office. The film came out after several years of development hell, which was partially due to Marvel themselves kind of splitting their franchises to multiple different studios, as they themselves were a struggling studio in the 1990s. Funnily enough, Wesley Snipes was the first person interested in making a film about Black Panther in 1992. Bunch of complications happened though, and the Black Panther film kinda didn't happen at all until the consolidation of the Marvel Cinematic Universe. Kevin Feige, the person who basically sees all in the MCU, introduced hints at Black Panther entering the Marvel Cinematic Universe, with the inclusion of vibranium and mention of Wakanda in Captain America: The First Avenger. and Avengers Age of Ultron. From then, Black Panther was officially introduced into the MCU in Captain America Civil War, and the solo film was slated for 2018. With the political climate and the society that we literally live in, that was a perfect time to release the film for maximum profit. The story and character of T'Challa was established in Civil War, with his father dying in an attack orchestrated by what everyone believed to be Bucky Barnes, only for it to be revealed later on in the film that it was Zemo who pretty much orchestrated the event to set off a chain reaction, which ended up in the Avengers pretty much splitting. But time diverging too much from the main point of the video, let's actually go to the film itself and what's good and what's bad about the film before we talk about awards season and just how bad it is, shall we? The film is no masterpiece, but I'm going to say it's a pretty damn good Marvel film. In my epic chart of Marvel film tiers that's probably going to get a lot of people watching this video pretty mad, Black Panther is a solid tier 2 out of 3. It isn't pants-shittingly walk out the cinema terror bad, but it isn't pants-shittingly cheer in your seat amazing either. It's right in the middle. So what did I like about the film? Let's start with... The world of Wakanda is rich and full of futuristic technology that would give Black Mirror viewers intense night terrors, and Marvel did a good job in highlighting just how ahead Wakanda was compared to the rest of the world with its set pieces. A lot of the technology shown in the scenes that are based in Wakanda are light years ahead of anywhere else in the MCU, and the people of Wakanda take it for granted, as they should do. The effects used to bring Wakanda to life and visualize the world were pretty good, which is more that can be said for some scenes later on in the film, which I will get to later. The exotic costume designs used in Black Panther are also some of the most extravagant so far in the MCU, and also sells the otherworldly nature of Wakanda, and also makes Martin Freeman as the only white person in the cast of the main film stick out like a piece of Rice Krispies in a bowl of Cocoa Pops. The crossover of worlds that occurs in, during and after the well done one-take fight scene in the casino is also pretty damn good. The cinematography and a lot of the set pieces that were used in the film were also amongst the best in the MCU. Some of the shots in the film were really desktop worthy. While this was the case, however, one thing that I found a bit annoying is that while they showed how cool and good Wakanda is from the air, the streets weren't exactly as futuristic as the rest of the world, especially Shuri's lab. You'd think that with the technology they were showing willy-nilly, there'd be a bit more cooler things to show other than All in all, I'd say that the build-up to and the portrayal of Wakanda during the film was one of its greatest strengths, which leads me to talk about... Erik Killmonger is one of, if not the best MCU villain that Marvel has ever brought to the screen. Played by Michael B. Jordan, Killmonger is a Black Ops soldier whose main goal in the film is to overthrow T'Challa, who is his cousin. He has a completely different ideal as to how Wakanda should be ruled. Jordan said himself that he likened the relationship between the two characters to Magneto and Professor X. Killmonger was the best part of the film by far. The effort that Marvel's directors normally put into developing the heroes was this time put into developing Killmonger's character. He wasn't a villain through and through. He had his own vision of the way things in Wakanda were meant to have run, and quite frankly, his vision was slightly better than T'Challa's vision for the most part. The characterization that other MCU heroes had was instead channeled into Killmonger, making him more accessible to the audience as a character than T'Challa in his own film. It's something that Marvel really likes to do now compared to before, with villains like Killmonger and even Thanos being arguably the main focus of their respective films as opposed to the titular characters. Killmonger's character was much better than Black Panther in his own film. Michael B. Jordan and Ryan Coogler aren't strangers to each other, with both of them collaborating on Fruitvale Station and Creed, and MBJ arguably being the best parts of those films. I find this to be another example of what I call the Fantastic Four syndrome. It just is fate that the actor who played the Human Torch in an iteration of the Fantastic Four films just so happens to be inducted into the MCU and become one of the most beloved characters of the franchise. Coincidence? I most certainly think not. So now that I've explained the good things about the film, I think it's time to talk about the things that aren't so good, and to start, I'm pretty much going to address the big elephant in the room. It looks like Marvel spent their entire CGI budget on the first scene where they went into Wakanda, because the CGI in the third act especially is some of the worst CGI I've seen in the MCU period. It might be more cost effective to rotoscope everything out and replace it with CGI, which is something that Marvel is guilty of doing up multiple times, but for a film that's nominated for Best Picture, you'd think that everything in the film would be consistently amazing and enjoyable. The CGI in the third act was really bad, which is really surprising because even shows like Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. have had better CGI and they have a millionth of the budget that Black Panther did. It's also a shame because Thor Ragnarok and Guardians 2 had some pretty damn good CGI and set pieces to complement it, but Black Panther and Spider-Man Homecoming didn't. Honestly, I have a feeling that further on down the line, the CG in this film is going to age like milk, mixed in with mayonnaise that's been out for 3 days. Going back to the third act, I have my suspicions that this was probably due to some studio interference, because the way in which the third act was sprung on the audience all of a sudden was so out of place compared to the rest of the film. The CGI they did over the rhinos and the last battle scene was something straight out of the 2011 remake of The Thing. The final fight scene between Killmonger and T'Challa was also pretty bad. It legitimately looked like a PS2 game or a TV movie. Everything seemed so weightless and amateurish compared to even the waterfall fights in the same film, which takes me to the action in this film was subpar. It was extremely disappointing compared to previous Marvel films. The final fight scene between Killmonger and T'Challa pretty much highlighted what was really wrong with the film. A lot of it was CGI, but the disappointment is the fact that the fight ended so abruptly. While watching in cinemas, I genuinely didn't think that the fight ended when it did. It went from 100 to 50 to -30 in what seemed like a minute, and I was left feeling a little disappointed, I'm not even going to lie. Again, it's a shame because Coogler's previous film, Creed, was amazing with this action, and Black Panther's previous appearance in Captain America Civil War was a much better showcase of just how powerful he is with just a choreography. The Russos did a much better job at showcasing how fast and agile he is, and I think his suit in this film was a much bigger downgrade than the suit he had in the previous film. The whole concept of Captain America has an indestructible shield, while this guy's suit's completely made out of it, was explored much better, actually grounded in some sort of reality in Civil War, because he's using his fighting abilities against his opponents. In this film, they introduced a suit that's powered by kinetic energy, and it took the tension out of quite a lot of his fights, because all he needed to do was just stand still for like 3 seconds and blast everyone to the DC universe and back. Why did the film spend so much time explaining away his abilities when they don't even have to do anything because T'Challa doesn't even need to use them? His suit was OP on its own and felt so damn weightless. In general, I think it was a big downgrade from the suit and the style in Civil War. That's not the only thing that was a massive downgrade as well. While Killmonger was one of the best Marvel villains in the solo film, I'm going to wager here that T'Challa is one of the worst. He was basically cucked by the script, and literally every other character outshines him in his own film. In Civil War, we see him go through grief and vengeance in a film, and him going through a distinct character arc in a film where he wasn't even the main character. He had less than 15 minutes of screen time on his own in Civil War, and he left more of an impact in that film compared to his solo film. The ensemble cast overshadowed him, and he didn't really get a chance to shine as an actor until the scene in which he confronts his dad about his ideals towards the end of the film. I get that his character is a bit subdued due to the events of Civil War taking place literally days before, but Chadwick Boseman really didn't have much to work with in this film as opposed to his amazing performance in Civil War. Similarly, Black Panther's love interest was kind of unnecessary in my honest opinion. It seems like they had to throw a couple of darts at a checklist to determine what Marvel cliche they wanted to fill in for this film, and they managed to land on the love interest cliche. Similarly, Daniel Kaluuya was wasted in this film. Wakabi was stupidly written, with how fast he turned on T'Challa and how easily he surrendered. Coogler seemed to delve too much into the relationship between Killmonger, T'Challa and his family that he seemed to have completely forgotten to add more depth into characters like Okoye and Wakabi, who I didn't even know they were married in the film until I watched it again. It really cheapened the conflict between the two, and I felt like those characters were wasted in the solo film. Winston Duke's M'Baku was great though, he had the funniest scene in the movie. Gollum was a character that I really liked in the film as well. From his introduction in Age of Ultron, seeing him in this film was a pretty good experience up until the moment he died so suddenly. While I understand why he had to die in the film within the context of the plot, it really sucks that he went out so early with only 2 films to his belt in the MCU, because I feel like his character could have been developed a lot more than it was. In fact, fuck that. Why the fuck did they even kill him? If they kept Claw alive and T'Challa prevented Wakabi from killing him due to a personal vendetta, it would have given more reason behind Wakabi's eventual betrayal. I think it sucks that they wasted this character in the way that they did. This one is the most compact, but the biggest reason why I think this film is getting way more praise than it deserves. As a film, it's the most cookie-cutter Marvel film that's been made in terms of the plot and the story. It did diverge in some creative ways, such as the villain exhibiting more charisma than the hero in this case, but I think that it's a victim of the Marvel formula, where everything is so predictable. This film is probably the most predictable film in the MCU. Literally everything that you think is going to happen, happens in the film, and there's no surprises and no moments that really make you jump out of your seat screeching bloody murder. Literally no one in the cast or even the audience was surprised that T'Challa lost a waterfall fight against Killmonger and survived it. The way in which the film played it out was as if it was going to be an epic reveal of epic proportions as the real Black Panther is alive and never yielded. It's just so predictable that it just isn't great viewing for the general audience. So to pretty much summarize, do I think Black Panther is good? Yeah! Do I think it's the worst Marvel film ever made? No! Do I think it deserves the outward praise that it's gained? No! Some people are praising this film as if it's the second coming of Christ, and while I don't deny the cultural impact that the film's received, it doesn't feel earned in my opinion. So let's talk about what's actually happened recently, and to walk you through that part, I'm going to...
Award season. Award season. Award season. Say that 3 times and Kanye will teleport behind you in a Roblox outfit and kill you dead. Award season is the most prestigious time of the year for people around the world. It's the time of year people wait with bated breath to hear what films they're legally allowed to call good and legally allowed to call shit. The 2019 award season should be no different. As the world waited, the Tories and Boomers got together and chose the official shortlist for the best films of the year. Of course, they didn't watch any of the films that they've shortlisted, but we finally have a superhero film that's represented in the Best Picture category, and it's not The Dark Knight. Wait, what the fuck? Hold on. What? Surely there's some fuckery going on from the outside, because I'm not buying this nomination whatsoever. Maybe there actually is something going on. Black Panther was made by Marvel. Marvel is owned by Disney. Disney owned ABC. ABC are showing the Oscars and the Avengers stars are hosting the event. Oh my god. This means that... No. This means that there's nothing wrong and you guys are way too paranoid. Why do we give award shows so much power over every opinion that you have? If you can look from the outside perspective and understand if a film is bad or not, you shouldn't have to ask for the opinions of someone else before judging it. Yes, you can say if something deserves an award or not. Hell, the Grammys are seen as a popularity contest. And I'm not saying that because Lamborghini wasn't nominated for Song of the Year, although it should have been. Anyway, it's all about forming your own judgment before getting mad at award shows for picking something you don't like. That being said, it's only a tiny bit off that a lot of people are complaining about the Oscars. For example, Bohemian Rhapsody getting nominated for an award when the director of the film is a nun. Fucking hell. This is your words, not me. First Man being snubbed for Best Original Score and Black Panther not being nominated for any traditional awards, yet getting a nomination for Best Picture. Perhaps the conspiracies are real, but really, who cares? I don't. Really, I don't give a fuck. So what did we learn from this? You're all mindless sheep. Sheep, the lot of you. Stop using awards as validation and maybe, just maybe, you'll enjoy more movies, you fucking peasants.
Wow. I wasn't actually expecting that. Anyway, to conclude the video, Black Panther as a film is competently made, enjoyable on the first watch, and something that you could probably replay when you're at your mate's house and there's no internet, so you have to use your ancient TV to watch some old pirated Blu-ray movies. What Black Panther isn't is a masterpiece, like some people are claiming it out to be. If after watching this video and countless others you still believe that Black Panther should be considered an all-time great film, then I don't blame you. It's not like I can come through the screen and slap you really hard around the face, so you're safe. For now. Thanks for watching this video. Again, this is something different that I wanted to work on because I feel like constantly doing cartoon reviews would probably be the death of me. Mainly because there's so many different channels that do it that it's kind of become a saturated field. That being said though, I have so many different video ideas I want to show you guys and I can't wait to put them into action. If you want early access and producer credits to my videos before I upload them, consider pledging to my Patreon and join the Discord, both of which are linked to the description. Thanks to JJ for lending his voice and efforts to me, and I hope to see you all in another video.